What's up, party people? I'm back. That's right, Rich is back with a whole new season of Behind the Counter 2.0, BTC 2.0. We're going to be here in 2025 doing a lot of fun creator interviews, just like we have in the past, and we're going to have a few more surprises down the line. Listen, 2024 may not have been everybody's year, but you know what? We digress. We move forward. We keep kicking ass, onward and upward, right? So, what better way to ring in this new season of Behind the Counter 2.0 than to talk with Mark London from Mad Cave Studios? We chat with him about Mad Cave's recent 10-year anniversary, the IPs that Mad Cave has managed to scoop up, and a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in 2025 down the line from Mad Cave Studios. Check it out. It's Mark London. He's a great guy. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Mark London. Mark, how are you? It's been a while. I always love talking to you. How's it going?
Likewise, Rich. It's so good to be back and glad to be here, starting
Yeah,
fresh 2025. So I'm
absolutely.
good. I'm pumped, energized, trying to make some good comics for you guys.
Very cool. Listen, you guys have been putting out a lot of comics over the last like couple of years that people have been grabbing, like Dick Tracy, Flash Gordon, Defenders of the Earth, and like all the other stuff that you guys are doing has been pretty fantastic. Like that must feel great. And 2024 was it was Mad Cave's 20th anniversary, right?
10th year anniversary.
10th year
10th year
anniversary.
anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. 20, I'm not there yet. I don't know if we're still gonna make it to 20 because it's just like
Mhm,
it's been quite the journey. But
mhm,
yes, it was our 10-year anniversary
mhm,
and it was great. It was a challenging year because we
mhm.
had a lot of things coming out of the gate,
Mhm.
and we had to set up our sure like a whole event
Yeah.
surrounding the 10-year anniversary. So it was a lot. It was a lot, but in the good sense of the word.
That's great. Talk to me about like some of the stuff that you guys have been working on. Like I know for a fact, like that, and I bring it up again, that Dick Tracy book has been sold out at my local comic shop. Like anytime it comes out, like people are going crazy for it.
Yeah, I think that our approach to storytelling, especially with these licenses like
Hmm.
Dick Tracy, Flash Gordon, even Gatchaman,
Yeah.
it's a fresh perspective in a sense that
Mhm.
that's why we do what we do because we love comics.
Yeah.
We remember how these characters were launched back in the day, so we're trying to bring them back to just the modern times, so they hit all the right chords with new audiences, or even with some old fans of those IPs. And with Dick Tracy in particular, I think that Alex Segura, Michael Moriarty, and Gerardo Borges on art, they have been doing just a phenomenal job. And also because their approach to Dick Tracy was kind of like what Frank Miller did for Batman. It's kind of like
Yeah.
your Dick
Mhm.
Tracy, like your year one kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Dick Tracy has an amazing villain roster.
Yeah.
So they just came out swinging outside the gate, out of the gate, and it's been great. And fans have
Mhm.
been really responding well to the title. That's really what Matt Cave strives for, just to surprise you with her quality and for her content and for her stories. So I'm glad that you're telling me that, Rich.
Oh yeah, like all the other books too. Like I'm a big Flash Gordon fan, so like, picking those books up has been phenomenal.
Mhm.
What do we have in store for 2025? Like is there any major release that you haven't teased yet or any
Yeah,
IP that you haven't announced yet?
yeah. Yeah, two big IPs that are coming this year, that were teased last year is the Phantom.
Hmm.
So we're gonna bring back the Phantom,
Very cool.
and we're also gonna bring back well, Speed Racer. So
That's awesome.
those are two IPs that we're super stoked. And
Hmm.
again, they're gonna have like our usual Mad Cave seal stamp of approval,
Yeah.
quality wise. I mean, for those type of stories. So I think it's gonna get a lot of fans excited that we're bringing them back, and
Yeah.
what we have in store. I mean, is it's phenomenal. So
Yeah, I'm excited for both of those. Like I grew up a Speed Racer fan. I'm sure you did too. And also like kind of like a Phantom fan also, but I always felt like Phantom was like one of for me personally, I always felt like Phantom was one of those tougher characters to write,
yeah.
because it's a little like, he's a pulp hero, so like to flesh him out a little bit, of course, I think you can do some awesome stuff.
100%. And I think that you nailed it. I mean, he's a pulp hero, and that's what we're trying to like respect, and that's what
Mhm.
we're trying to just like keep immaculate. But again, bringing it to modern times that actually fans can enjoy, whether you're coming new to the series, or you're a diehard
Hmm.
fan of the Phantom. I mean, I think that we struck the right balance for that story.
Um, and same thing. Like I think Gotcha Man's also like it's writing is tough to begin with. Creating is tough to begin with. But you guys have so many wonderful books that you're putting out. I was a big fan of Crusader when that came out. I
Yeah.
thought it was a 4 issue, 5 issue miniseries. Like,
Yes.
and I wanted more.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes, Rich, you do have to adjust to the times and
Hmm.
to the market. So we were kind of a little bit on the fence going past like either 6 issues or
Okay.
5 issues. Like the market was asking like for bite-sized content that you
Hmm.
could really just like, okay, I'm not gonna have to like back in the day that you had Sandman and it was like
Hmm.
70 something issues, or
Hmm.
Invincible 100 and something, or Walking Dead,
Yeah.
and you were like, oh my God. But now we're seeing that those things are being missed, that you really want to keep up with the characters. That I mean,
Yeah.
4 issues, 5 issues is just too little. So that is something that we're also going to try to work hard in the following years. We're going to try to keep some of those stories going, and at least trying to make them ongoing.
Hmm.
The thing is that it's tough. I mean, making comics
Yeah.
is tough, and trying to like, yeah, pump out a page a day, um, a
Yeah.
page every few days, or I mean 20 pages in a month. I mean, it's tough. It's really 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 tough. But
Yeah, go ahead.
we're
Sorry.
doing it.
Do you think that like you mentioned that now it's kind of like the market is forcing you to make like these miniseries instead of like that full-blown 100 issue run, right? Do you think that's because of like the advent of social media impacting the world of comic books where like the attention span isn't there anymore?
For sure, for sure. I think that
Hmm.
our biggest problem, or biggest competitor, unfortunately, is TikTok and Instagram. That we're now so
Hmm.
glued to our phones and just looking at mindless
Yeah.
videos all day, cat videos, that they're so fun and so funny. But
Hmm.
really, I mean, that's the attention span. Like, oh, I need to be glued to this. Oh,
Yeah.
but really, I mean, we have lost a little bit of, okay, I really want to sit down and enjoy a good novel. I really want to enjoy, okay, 12 issues of,
Yeah.
let's just say, Watchmen, or something that it was just like, okay. I think that we've lost a little bit about that. But
Hmm.
Mad Cave, we try not to follow trends. So
Right.
so we
Right.
not we try not to just like being like, oh, what is working here? Okay, so you were able to just do change formats or change sizes for the way that you're delivering your products, or do this and that.
Hmm.
Those things, I mean, take years to make. So sometimes,
Right.
I mean, when you have a plan, I think that it's better just to like stick to your plan. And with MadKit is like, listen, we want to deliver the best stories possible. We really want
Hmm.
to captivate our audience. And now how the world is, and everything that is out there, I mean, we want to give you escapism. We
Hmm.
really want to give you a good story that you can really submerge yourself, you can enjoy, and without leaving all the drama behind. So yes, trends and social media and all this stuff. I mean, they try to force you to go in one direction, but I
Hmm.
think that you have to keep true to your values, what you set out to do, and just keep going. And hopefully, I mean, people will respond. And going back to Dick Tracy's, like, hey, I mean, the book is solid.
Yeah.
Give it some times. I mean, sometimes things go out of the gate swinging
Yeah.
and they become overnight success. Those are very few. So sometimes, I mean, it's good to just like keep at it, and people will eventually pick up. Books will eventually find their audience out there. So that's really what we try to do with Matt Cave.
Yeah, that listen, it's a fascinating process like overall. I mean like comic books in general just because like, comic books have been around for almost 100 years, right? So,
Yep.
like you guys keep evolving and you also never know what hits. I've found that like as a lifelong comic fan and like I worked in retail and I know a lot of retails and all that stuff. You never know what the most popular thing is going to be. Like I remember when Nottingham dropped, you couldn't find it, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or during the pandemic, people were scrambling to get something is killing the children,
Yep.
and like, but
Hmm.
again, like you like these like that's a book that I never thought was gonna hit, and I'm all of a sudden it's
Yep.
like,
Hmm.
the scarcity of it. How does the I'm trying to phrase this the proper way. How does the internal creative slash business process work? Like, for example, do you pitch creators in a certain regard, or is it create like a creator would say, "Hey, listen, I have a great idea for X, Y, and Z."
It goes both ways
Okay.
because Mad Cave, the way that Mad Cave and Maverick and Paper Cuts
Mhm.
and our upcoming Nakama Press, which is our manga line that is going to be released later during the year,
Cool.
works is that we have we have three kinds of content. So one is homegrown. So
Hmm.
Mad Cave comes out with the idea and be like, hey, we reach out to certain creators and we are like, listen, we have this idea. We want you
Hmm.
to develop it. We kind of like give them a little bit of the blue frame and then the blueprint, I'm sorry, and then go crazy with it.
Hmm.
But then it's a homegrown project. The other one is where creators they come to us and be like, hey, listen, I've been working on this story or I have
Hmm.
this idea, and then they pitch it to us, and we're like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Hmm.
And sometimes they bring along great collaborators, so it tracks even further. So it's
Hmm.
just like, okay, listen, we really want to publish this book. Or the third one is kind of like what we're discussing about Dick Tracy, Flash Gordon, or Gatchaman, which
Yeah.
those are licenses. So we do license those characters and then we create stories based on those characters. So that
Hmm.
is basically the three routes that the company takes to publish its content.
So for something like Gotcha Man, for
Yeah.
example, did you pitch the creative team?
We had to, well, first you first have to actually pitch the owner of the license.
Okay.
So you have to
Yeah.
go to Tatsunoko and be like, okay, listen, this is kind of like what we want to do. This is
Yeah.
going to be like our publishing plan. This is what the next
Hmm.
2, 3, 4 years, depending on how long the licenses, the license of the deal is made. This is our plan because
Hmm.
that's really what they want. Is like, okay, you're going to like ask me for the license. We're
Hmm.
gonna get into a contract with the license. What are you gonna do with these characters? So first is the publishing plan. You
Yeah.
basically lay out everything that you want to do, all your variants, all your series. If it's just gonna you're gonna do spin-offs or you're gonna do like one shots or
Hmm.
everything. Second, you pitch kind of like the stories that you want to tell, or where
Hmm.
do you want to push the envelope? Because sometimes remember that because you don't own these characters. I mean, what they really want, and it's kind of like the Marvel and
Yeah.
DC approach when they hire like writers. Is like, okay,
Hmm.
you may borrow the toy from the shelf, but then you're
Hmm.
supposed to put it back. So
Yeah.
you cannot really just like go crazy and be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna kill the entire team, and I'm
Hmm.
just gonna come up with my own team, and I'm gonna rename it. They're gonna tell,
Yeah.
no, sir. Thank you so much, but that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So you have to go along the line. So then once the publisher and the licensor are in agreement, okay, this is kind of like what we want,
Hmm.
then we reach out to creators and be like, okay, creators, give us your pitch. What will
Hmm.
you do with Gotchaman? What will you do with Flash Gordon? What will you do with Dick Tracy? And then that is once their pitches, we like the pitch is approved, then we have to run it back to the licensors.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of back and forward. And you have a lot of people watching over your shoulder, but you're responsible for these characters. So at the
Right.
end of the day, you want your company as a publisher to succeed, delivering, I mean, the best product that you possibly can, and also keep your licensors, which are the owners of these wonderful toys, happy.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell the process.
Well, that's a very informative answer, and I appreciate you taking the time to answer that because, again, like as a fan, a lifelong fan, you just don't know. I think a lot of people listening to this are just like, oh, they don't think like, oh, this is a process to get these things and to tell these stories, because there's
Mhm.
a whole lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Um, how long did that whole, let's use Gotcha Man as an example. How long did that whole process take to get the license, do the pitches, and then get the creative team?
Luckily, with Gatchaman and Tatsunoko,
Hmm.
was a little bit faster than the other. Sometimes, I mean, things just work like that.
Hmm.
Mark Irwin, our president, he has a great relationship with Tatsunoko, so he was able to
Hmm.
just like get in there and be like, okay, guys, we're gonna lay the ground. This is what we're
Yeah.
planning. And then Mike Mars, our editor in chief, I mean, this is like I don't know his 1,500 rodeo, so he
Okay.
already knows exactly what he's supposed to do. So I think that some of these processes, I mean, they're faster depending on how prepared you come to that meeting
Yeah.
and to the table, to the negotiation table, and you're like, okay, this is going to be your plan. So with Gatchaman, it was fairly quickly. I think that we knocked that one quite fast.
Okay.
Um, I guess that you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that it was the same thing with Flash Gordon and with Dick Tracy. I think that they were pretty smooth processes. I mean, those
Hmm.
companies have been great.
Yeah.
So King's Features. I mean, also, I mean, they're they're fantastic to work with. So I think that it was not as long as a lot of people might think. We
Yeah.
do have other licenses that they have. I'm not gonna say which ones,
Okay.
but that they have really been they're tough. Let's
I
just
can
leave it at
imagine. Listen, like these characters have been around for so long. Like Flash Gordon and Dick Tracy have been around for ages. So like
yeah.
I'm sure it's like a kind of like a double-edged sword there, where the license holder is saying like,
Mhm.
"Oh, great, you guys are gonna bring fresh eyes to this classic character," but at the same time saying like, listen, please don't fuck this up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a nutshell is that. But also it's
Yeah.
very rewarding um from Matt Cave standpoint
Hmm.
to actually have these conversations with these licensors and
Hmm.
that they are able to trust you. So for me, when we started that conversation, I mean, for
Hmm.
me, that was the win. I used to tell my team,
Hmm.
listen, if we even don't get the license or we basically don't get the deal, at least they consider us for a reason.
Right.
We're in the room, so that's a huge win. But this process has been 2 3 years like in the making, so we're still there, and we
Hmm.
have more Gatchaman, Dick Tracy, Flash Gordon, just to name a few, for you guys for a lot more years.
That's
So
very cool.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
That's very cool. Is there an IP that you, if you can reveal it, is there an IP that you really wanted, but it just didn't work out? Are you allowed to say that?
Yes, I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you my secrets,
Okay.
Rich. Yes,
Please.
I wanted Castlevania.
Oh, fuck,
Um,
dude.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
I wanted Castlevania so bad.
Yeah.
Konami's so busy right now with
Hmm.
everything that they're doing, so that it was hard. Also, okay, I'm gonna tell you, but
Okay.
just you.
Okay.
Yeah, Highlander.
Oh, man. That's another
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
it's another one. So
Hmm.
again, sometimes I mean those deals don't come to fruition
Hmm.
because of the rules, because
Yeah.
of the rules that they have in place. So sometimes like for example for Castlevania, for Highlander, they
Hmm.
might tell you, listen, okay, we can we can agree to a deal, but unfortunately you can only do this. You can
Interesting.
only work you can only work within this.
Okay.
And sometimes, I mean, for us, it's super hard because if
Hmm.
it's just like, okay, just to put an example, like you can only work based on the first movie, and that's it. So you're like,
Okay.
so tough. So when you're put in a box, sometimes you kind of like, okay, so I can just remake the movie. Yes,
Right.
so that is something that is just gonna be like, well, then just go and watch the movie.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
we try to approach it bigger. I mean, they do have such an amazing world that you can do so much with them. But we have to remember that also these companies, because these characters, they're
Hmm.
so successful that they have other deals going on.
Right.
So
Right.
they might have a video game in place, or they might have a movie in place, or they might have a series already in place.
Hmm.
So then, unfortunately, you cannot go in and then fuck up
Right. Right.
what they already have in the works for the past like 4 years. So that's why these boxes, I mean, sometimes get super super narrow. Sometimes you get lucky and like Gotcha Man, Flash Gordon, and Dick Tracy, where they tell you like, okay, you have you have more rope than that we would expect, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
super super fun. So yeah, but thanks for the question.
No, of course. Yeah, I'm always fascinated by that kind of stuff, especially. And you also kind of like made my day. Right, two of my favorite properties of all time, Castlevania and Highlander. So the
Yeah,
Highlander, you were saying like the Highlander people were just like you can only do the first movie.
yeah.
That's wild.
Unfortunately,
You know what?
unfortunately, yeah. Because again,
Yeah.
because they're working on this movie. Well, it's a rumor. Um, I'm not confirming or denying this.
Right.
I
Right.
don't
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know. So don't shoot the messenger.
Hmm.
But you know that there's a Henry Cavill movie in
Yeah.
the works for the longest time. I have no idea what's going on with that. So a lot of things. I mean,
Yeah.
in behind closed doors are happening so fast and so quick that they try to accommodate for what you might want to do with the IP, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's not the right time. So that's the deal there.
Yeah. Again, so fascinating. I would have pitched you. How did Connor McLeod end up at Madison Square Garden at that wrestling match?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Again, but
that's the
you
story you
see,
don't know. Yeah.
that's the stories that you don't know, and even with the TV show, I mean, there's so much
Yeah.
story that you can also tell with Duncan and with Connor McLeod
Yeah.
and it's or with Sean Connery's
Hmm.
character. I know
Oh
that
my
he
God.
died, but dude, but they're also immortal. So again, you
Yeah.
can do so much, but unfortunately, I mean, they call the shots.
Right.
They they own the property, so it's their call.
It's so fascinating. What is Mad Cave's? I gotta ask, like, what's your guys' best selling book right now? Because there's so many books, miniseries, ongoings. Like, what is it? Like, can you share that information or no?
I think that it changes, but I think
Hmm.
that it's probably the three that we've been talking about. Is
Oh wow.
Gotham,
Okay.
Dick Tracy, and Flash Gordon. Those are the three that basically just
Yeah.
keep battling out every month.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they help keep the doors open for the company. You know.
oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what you want. That's
Yeah.
really what you want as a company. That you want to
Hmm.
produce again great content, proven results, so that then it
Hmm.
opens the door to have conversations with Castlevania, Highlander,
Yeah.
or some other guys out there.
Or what have you.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
from a creative perspective, like who are some creators that you want to have working under the Mad Cave banner, at least for something?
Well, it's the good thing with Mad Cave is because
Hmm.
I've always been a fan of comic books,
Yeah.
and then we're doing this, so I have my favorite. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind having Brian Cave on here. I wouldn't mind having
Hmm.
James Tinian here,
Hmm.
having Tom King here. Um, those guys are just fantastic. So again, fingers crossed. You never know what's going to happen, but those would be my top three. I have
Yeah.
more, but those are my top three.
Yeah. And listen, comic books now, it's like an embarrassment of riches for creators, writers, artists, inkers, colors. Like, there's so many people out there doing such great work.
Yeah.
Um, I love your studio background, by the way. It's
Thank
pretty
you.
fantastic. I like the original art. I have to ask, is that the sideshow Batmobile?
That's the Sideshow
Oh,
Batmobile.
that
Yes,
thing's
sir.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's one of my crown jewels of my collection. Remember, because I was a collector first,
Yeah.
and I've loved this stuff for so many years. I mean, I think that the Mad Cave thing was basically so I can tell my wife to let me keep all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a front. It goes with
Hmm.
with the job description.
You're
So
like, it's work. It's work, honey.
it's work, honey. Yes,
Yeah.
all this, baby, it's work. I mean, look, Rich is gonna
Hmm.
interview me. I need a place to just like highlight what we do. You know,
It's so good. Are you guys hitting the convention scene again this year?
we are. The
Yeah.
first one is gonna be Emerald City,
Cool.
and then it's going to be San Diego Comic Con, and then New
Hmm.
York Comic Con. So I hope to see you there, sir, at New York
Yeah,
Comic
yeah,
Con.
absolutely. Yeah, I was there for one day this past year, and then I went to the booth, and they said you were somewhere else. I think you were. I don't think you came to the show, right? Or you were
No,
coming like.
I did.
Okay.
I was all days there. The only
Hmm.
thing is that for us now, again, those shows now become a
Hmm.
complete like it's an extension of your work. So it
Yeah,
becomes like your traveling office. So a lot of people are always trying to book meetings in the show,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they try to hey come to my booth or have an interview here or let's go outside and have some coffee. So those shows instead of where when we started, and I'm embarrassed to say that I miss
Hmm.
those days
Yeah,
where
yeah.
I was really like behind the booth and kind to just like
Hmm.
begging for people just to like, hey, buy my shit, please. My kids
Yeah.
gotta eat. Now it's just like,
Hmm.
okay, you have a meeting here, you have to go there, and you're
Yeah.
kind of like running around, and I can't like just like enjoy and really talk to the fans as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
But
That's a good
hopefully, I
problem to
mean,
have.
this year I can see you a little bit more.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Like I would love to grab a coffee with you or something if you have time.
Sure.
So uh, for 2025, like what are some of your big plans for the company and where do you see it by 2026?
Okay, so this year, next year, we still have a full publishing plan with
Hmm.
all across all four imprints. So again, Mad Cave is going to be pumping out content like crazy, and a lot of this happened because when COVID hit,
Yeah.
a lot of companies, how they did their pencils down and all that stuff, and they furloughed a lot of
Hmm.
people. For us, I mean, it was just like we believe so much in this that we're just going to keep going. So
Hmm.
a lot of the content, because again, comic books take a long time to make and it's a process. We were able to just like keep going since COVID, and we were
Yeah.
just like doing deals left and right, doing deals left and right. So right now for 2025 and 2026, we have a full, really like schedule packed to the brim. I'm not kidding, Rich, in terms of comic books that you're gonna see coming out through Mad Cave, graphic novels that you're gonna see coming out from Maverick, more middle grade content through paper cuts. And the big thing this year is that we're officially gonna launch our Nakama Press imprint, which is gonna be our manga imprint. And we're gonna come out the gate with four titles, which they're gonna be The Theory of KO, Indigo, Hocus Focus, and the other one is Infinity T-Force, which is kind of like your Gatchaman Battle of the Planets, like is with Tatsunoko. So it's really, really cool. So we're gonna come out with those four titles. But we have 28 ready to
Wow.
go.
That's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's expand on the manga stuff. So,
Sure.
was this a long time in the works to get the manga out there? Like, what style is it? Is it good? Like, please, like, just explain it to us. Like, what are we gonna, what are we looking forward to here?
Yeah. When we started Mad Cave, I've always told my team that I see like it's a chair with four legs,
Hmm.
and the four legs is basically Mad Cave, which you have your Team Plus content,
Hmm.
and that it goes to your adult content. You have your Maverick content, which is your young adult market, and then you have your middle grade content
Hmm.
that we have through paper cuts. But the fourth leg had always been manga
Okay.
because it's within your wheelhouse. It's really within everything else that
Hmm.
you're doing. And going through Amazon, your distributor, which is Simon and Schuster, comic book shops. I mean, manga, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's part of your core, it's part of your target audience. I mean,
Hmm.
we do like graphic storytelling. So it was a no-brainer for us to actually bring manga to the table. So
Hmm.
we like as we did with paper cuts, we acquired paper cuts, and I think that has really done wonders for the company. We were also eyeing a few companies
Okay.
that produced manga content. That unfortunately didn't came to fruition, but
Hmm.
we always were like, listen, we will, as we did with Maverick, as we did with Mad Cave, we will have our own imprint, and that's how Nakama Praise came to be. And what we really want to do is with Nakama is trying to get like be really respectful to the art
Hmm.
and trying to get so you're gonna get your full-fledged manga authentic experience. A lot of Japan content is gonna be filtered through Nakama, but also we want to give other writers and other creators the opportunity to really stretch their creative muscles into the manga realm.
Very cool.
So it's going to be a little bit of both. So kind of like what we do with Mad Cave, and you've seen
Hmm.
that we do our talent search, and
Hmm.
you were speaking about Nottingham. Nottingham is two talent search winners, and he basically just caught everybody off guard. There's
Hmm.
so many talented people out there that unfortunately I know how hard it is to break into this business. I know how hard it is to get published. So with these initiatives and with these plans and this vision that we have in place for
Hmm.
even Nakama, we are going to be able to tap into undiscovered talent
Hmm.
within what manga is supposed to be delivered, trying to keep authentic to the art form.
That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it even more now. So, as far as like the formatting of the books, are we getting like floppy size or is it going to be like traditional? Yeah.
You're gonna get your traditional manga. I mean, we're
Okay.
gonna respect. I mean, you're gonna get an original manga product. I mean, the way that you enjoy your manga, that's the way that the Nakama Press is going to have its products.
That's really cool. Are you a manga fan yourself?
I am.
What
I
are some
am.
of your favorites?
Oof. We could be here all day, but okay, I'm gonna give you the rundown just for the okay. Jujutsu Kaisen.
Great.
It's amazing. Demon Slayer, terrific.
Uh,
One Piece, I love it. Can't keep up with it, but I mean, it's amazing.
it's tough.
The other one is My Hero Academia.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. Berserk.
It's the best.
It's good. I mean, I
Yeah.
can keep on going, Rich. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like so good. I mean, I really got last year. I got really hooked into in Doctor Stone.
Okay.
Have you heard of those
No.
Doctor
No.
Stone?
I have not. I'll put it on
It's
my list. I'll put again.
put it,
Listen,
please put
like,
it in your list. I mean, it's great.
yeah,
I grew up with a lot of Japanese animation,
yeah,
and I think that it's really in my DNA now.
yeah.
So I mean, sure, making animation it's super expensive, is
Hmm.
really really hard. So but my love for the art form is so vast
Hmm.
that that we always wanted to bring manga to Mad Cave. So
Yeah.
that's why I always love manga. I'm
Uh,
sorry, I'm just
no, no,
geeking out
no.
here with you.
No, please, like, please. That's what the show is for. And I was gonna add to that and say, like, I'm a guy in my 40s. A lot of my friends are in their 40s, and there's a huge resurgence of like, we all grew up with anime, but now it's like I at least 2 or 3 times a week, I'm in like several group chats with a lot of buddies. So it's like
Mhm.
somebody will say, "Hey, listen, I really want to get into manga or anime. Like, give me like a top 5 or top 10 or whatever.
Sure,
And it always ends up being like me and a very close friend of mine, like our pick is, oh, number one is like just read Berserk first. It's awesome. And then
sure.
Jujutsu Kaisen and like all that stuff. And like I'm a big fan of classic anime also. So like I had Akira
Yeah,
blasting the other day on the TV. Like I've seen that movie a million times, but
love
I'll
it.
I'll watch it a million more.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like all that stuff is fantastic. I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, are we gonna get merchandise, t-shirts, action figures? Because I'm a sucker for all that stuff.
It's inedible.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I mean it's inedible, and it's part of the plan, and that's
Yeah.
that is something that we really are going to try to um plug in,
Yeah.
especially with our conventions and especially where we're D2C through our website. But yeah, a lot of these things, I mean, we owe it to the properties, we owe it to everything that we're
Hmm.
doing, Rich. And sure, merchandising is huge. So stay tuned, sir, because yes, merchandising is coming.
Oh, beautiful. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Cool, Mark. All right, let's wrap it up, man. Like, do you have anything else that you want to share with anybody that we haven't covered on this round of our new interview?
Mhm. Yeah, keep up with uh my latest series, which they have been Revolution 9, Exit City, Hour of the Wolf, three standalone series that they're gonna collide this summer on a crossover called Endless Night. And it's gonna be super cool, action-packed. I mean, I think that you guys are really, really gonna enjoy it. So yeah, thank you for letting me plug that in, Rich.
Oh, absolutely. Plug anything you want. Cool. All right, Mark. I
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
yeah, I mean, keep your eyes peeled for more Mad Cave. Everything that we're
Yeah.
doing. Best way to keep track of the company is through our website, our socials, madcavestudios.com. And yeah, we have a lot of good stuff in the works for you guys. So stay tuned.
Very cool, man. I am so excited. All right, Mark. It was great talking to you as always.
No, thank you for having me, Rich. You're the
Thank you, man.
best.
You are. All right. Mark is awesome. And you know what? He'll be back. I really enjoy talking with Mark. He brings such great insight to the comic book business. And listen, everybody's got a different story in comic books. Everybody's got a different story of how they broke in and how they maintain a career in comics. Now, I suggest to you, jump out there, go to your local comic shop, buy whatever Mad Cave trades are available, buy whatever Mad Cave issues are available. You won't be disappointed. I love Mad Cave. Fantastic company. I'm very excited to see what they do with the creator on stuff. I'm very excited to see what they do with the IPs this year. Onward and upward. My books of the week this week, G.I. Joe #3, continuing the Energon universe. I'm very excited about this series, and I'm a kid at heart. I'm in my 40s, so G.I. Joe and Transformers, that's my wheelhouse. That's my childhood. And I think it was a lot of people's childhoods too. So I'm waiting for that full-blown G.I. Joe Transformers crossover to happen from Image Comics. World's Finest 35 came out. Can't go wrong with that book. It's been a banger since #1. Mark Waid is doing such a great job. You have Dan Mora on it too. New Gods #2. Fantastic. Nice House by the Sea this week. A lot of DCs this week. Scott Snyder and Jock have a new book from Distillery called You Won't Feel a Thing. Very, very cool book. It dropped today. Today's Wednesday. You're actually going to get a comic book episode of a comic book podcast on Comic Book Day. But my book of the week, Ultimate Wolverine #1. And speaking of which, next week I will be having the writer of Ultimate Wolverine #1 on the show, Chris Condon. Chris Condon is a friend of the show. We've had him on a couple of times, and I'm fascinated by his career, and I love that it took him to Marvel and DC within the last year or so. So we're going to chat about all that fun stuff next week. Now, hit that subscribe button. BTC Rich X is the YouTube channel. You can find me on X at BTC Rich. That's it. No X on the BTC Rich on the X. I'm going to confuse you all, but you know where to find me. And I'm also trying to get used to not calling it Twitter. But, X is the thing. Whatever. It's stupid. Anyway, you can find me there. We're going to have some fun stuff happening. Also, we're going to drop some links in the next couple of weeks. I got a Shopify store coming up. I got some t-shirts we're going to sell. How cool is that? And also, you can find me and Andrew Zarian on the Mat Men podcast every Friday morning at 10:30 on YouTube. And you can find us at Fightful on YouTube, Beyond the Bell, every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. So a lot of podcasting. I believe I'm going to be on Tom Talks Rubbish this week and another podcast appearance next week if I can, fingers crossed, make it happen. But I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Please, comments, questions. Talk to me about comic books. Talk to me about pro wrestling. I'm here for you. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.